really impactful. Carlos has got fantastic energy.
I just found it really entertaining.
It's not boring. It entertained my two guests here.
You know, frankly, if I were President Aquino, I would require that every foreigner that comes to Manila has to go on this tour.
Because of this tour, I'm more enlightened.
Yeah, I had high expectations, but they were met, and to be honest, they were exceeded.
Recommend it to any person visiting Manila. It's one of the first items on their itinerary. It gives a great overview of the history of the Philippines.
I would highly recommend this tour to anyone who wants to understand where they are, where they're going, where they are. And this has probably been the best learning experience that I've ever had of this type.
Everyone should take this, especially Filipinos. Tourists can learn a lot from it, but I think that Filipinos, it's time for us to change the way we see our culture.
I would like to, because it brings the history books to life.
I always think a tour is good as well because you can hear things as opposed to reading them, and it's always more entertaining and more engaging. Yeah.
The answer is no.
No.
And the reason why is, well, I was going to say the reason why is they're seldom available.
Oh.
Now, where there are good tours like this, yes, I always try to go.
It started actually. Like becoming like a family thing here.
Yeah.
Before that we wanted to, we went to Singapore, we went to Malaysia, Indonesia, but then I told him, I think we have to start here, in Manila, and then in the province.
No, very rarely.
Question is, Carlos, what do you think motivates your consumers to choose your tour over other available tour packages?
For my personal opinion,
Yes.
I think it's really word of mouth.
Why?
Because other than Lonely Planet or whatever, I have no advertising budget. I have zero advertising. If you think about this, have you ever seen a Carlos Run ad? No.
No.
And today we had 100 people.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But do you think that's a benefit to your side? Is it an advantage to your word of mouth?
Yes, because they know what they're getting before they come. Because I've had experiences of people who read some sort of review and went on it without knowing my background, knowing how risque the tour can be, knowing like how scandalous some of the things I say, and they freak out. So actually, I do like it actually being kind of word of mouth because the client already comes with a knowledge of the product.
So for you, like, what do you prioritize? The value or the satisfaction that you get from like the people from the tour?
Oh, for like any other hand, it's the applause at the end of the performance. That's where the satisfaction comes from. When like,
It feels good. Kilig.
well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm KSB, big deal.
Next. Do you collect feedback or do you collect feedback?
I don't collect feedback. Feedback is actually done by studies like this. I've had another one from UP that did my email the tour of study. I don't like looking at feedback because it takes away from the concentration of my product. Because remember, this is coming from an art point of view. I'm doing it as theater, I'm doing this as a personal expression. And just like anybody.
Yeah. But if you know the feedback, how do you respond to it? Or do you respond?
Never through formal sectors.
Oh, okay.
Never through formal sectors.
Do you do anything to alter your tours based on the feedback that they gave you? Not really.
So feedback like that from professional sectors, I will listen to. But if it comes to like dissatisfied customers, what I usually do is I give them either a full refund or I get involved in a very, very heated Twitter quarrel.
Sir, we're all following promotion of Philippine history. What other goals drive you to conduct these tours? Like, is there a
Personal.
hedonic?
It's personal.
So it's more hedonic, like more.
Yeah, not only. My tour is a conversation with myself. It's me talking to me, and everybody's just privy to listening to my own conversations to myself. And the more that I do my tour is really part of a journey of understanding what created me, how Manila created the person that I am, and so forth and so on. And I just do this hoping, without not the objective, but just hoping that somebody else will just be inspired and try to take a journey on their own.
Okay, so, in relation to that, in your opinion, like how does one understand the underlying, meanings? And this is philosophical, I think. Is there the underlying hedonistic meanings in your tour? How does one understand that? Because it's a journey, you said.
It's a journey, and it's a personal journey.
Yeah.
It's really a very opinionated tour.
Yeah.
This is not the history that you get in the books. This is the history that is taken from the books, and I just translate it in my own way with my own opinions. I want to be in a position where actually I will inspire you to come up with the same opinions that I do, even if it's different from mine, but just come up with an opinion.
Yeah. Hey!
Yeah, so my personal opinion about Manila is that if we had Intramuros here, we'd have a stronger spiritual core. We'd have a stronger understanding of traditions and beauty and whatever. But since the Americans blew everything up in World War II, we were left totally with a dislocated culture.
Does your way of touring change depending on the kinds of attendees? Like, if it's a group of foreigners, a mixture, students, does it change?
The script doesn't change. The script does not change, and it never will change. It is what it is. I do change depending on the weather. So I have to find different places that are shady. Anything.
Basically, how do you turn off the personal, subjectiveness? Or since you said it's a church, so how do you turn that thing off? Or you have to show it to them that.
I go into theater mode. So literally, when the tour starts, there's a click off, and then when the tour ends, there's back. So if there's any mindset that changed, it's only because of perception and delivery of product.
Said earlier, when everyone was reading Lord of the Rings, you're 10 years old and you're struck by this. Why? You were 10, so what made you?
Well, it's a long story. I grew up in a place called Dasmariñas Village. And then when I went to UP after I graduated, and I left the walls of Dasmariñas and everything, I discovered there was a bigger world out there. And that discovery of the bigger world made me not want to ever go back to the Intramuros called Dasmariñas Village. So it all comes from that. It was a journey to find myself out of the bourgeois, upper class upbringing that I had.
You don't want to be called Konya for the rest of your life?
No, I've actually embraced it. I am a Konya.
So you do embrace it? Yeah.
What am I going to do? Pretend I'm not?
Sa Madrid Damaso Church. Is that really a publicity stunt, or you really hate the church?
I don't hate the church. I just don't like them getting involved in affairs of the states. Give to Caesar what is Caesar, give to what is to the Lord. So basically when I did that, it was a protest action that I used the same methods. I went there in a costume, I went in a hat, I went using references of Rizal. It's really an extra excerpt of my tour. I believe, that's why I call myself a cultural activist, because I believe that arts and culture and doing things that are arts and culture related can transform Philippine society.
Ever,
Make it masa?
Yes.
I would like to, but I also know the limitations of my product. It's better performed in English. It's like Jose, I don't change the product, but I just try to make it more affordable. So what I do is when I don't have enough Filipinos. As you can see, the tour is very integral. I need at least 10 Filipinos or 5 Filipinos to make it work. Because we make it barter tour. So people can come to the tour and they pay me through flowers, they pay me through a kiss on the cheek, they give me cupcakes. They can come on the tour for free as long as they get involved in the performance. It won't work in Tagalog. It won't work in Tagalog with me.
I don't think it will work in Tagalog.
Then let some other person take the script, translate it to Tagalog, and they perform it on their own level. It's not my history, it's Philippine history. So for me to copyright shit like that, I can only copyright the joke and the script. But that's why it's very difficult for me to sell the product as somebody else, because it really is dependent upon me and my body and the aura of me doing the tour.
This way.
Walk this way.
This way.
Walk this way.
This way.
This way.
Walk this way.
Walk this way.
Walk